Hey YouTube, it's JP Dillon, aka Jordan Pure. We're going to show you how to service a Pioneer tx-9100 tuner. This one was an acquisition and it's kind of rough looking. It was definitely sitting around a while. It's got a lot of grunge on the knobs. Just a quick plug in here. You can see that all the lamps and stuff are lit up. But what we're going to do is a performance evaluation, and I'll give you some pointers on cleaning it up and a basic alignment. So let's hook it up and get started. Alright, so we got it hooked up to an amplifier here. Let's turn the muting off and see if we can tune something. Tuning here is really dirty. Thing probably hasn't been used in ages. Okay, so we get FM stereo, which is a good sign.
Trade. Call 877-399-TRADE.
Alright, so we have basic AM and FM functionality. Let's get the thing apart. Taking this apart is pretty straightforward. There's two screws on each side of the case. And also, if you flip it up on its butt, or on its side, there's the bottom screws on everything, which we'll be taking off to get to the switches and controls. Not a whole lot to these. They're pretty simple and straightforward. We'll show you what the inside of one of these looks like. Alright, so once you get the screws out of the sides, lift up the back and pull it back as you lift away. And then you get to see what's inside of these. You can see Pioneer wanted to make it look all cool looking and discreet, so they covered everything. And really what you want to do is remove these covers, dust out underneath. You want to deoxit the de-emphas switch. We'll need to take those covers off in order to align the set anyways. This is your tuning condenser. You'll need to remove the shield on this so we can clean the contacts. And I want to remove this so that we can do an alignment and you can get a feel for where all the controls are at. I don't like sticking tools blindly into holes, although you do get a somewhat better alignment with the shield in place. So what let's do, well, first of all, we're going to take the bottom off and deoxit all the controls and stuff, and then we'll take the shields off and clean up the rest of the things. So let's get the bottom off. So once you get the bottom off, this is pretty much what the inside of a 9100 looks like. You've got your power supply, which is here. This is part of your muting circuit. These are your audio and level control boards. That's the bottom end of the tuning cap. Now, not a lot goes wrong with these. A lot of people say you got to recap these. I haven't really found one yet that had a set of bad caps on it. The regulators don't run that hot, so they really never break loose from the board, although you can pull this up if you want to and check it. Grab an ESR meter and check all the caps, make sure they're decent. You can spend a lot of time on these, but really, unless you're after high fidelity FM listening, which given most stations compression ratios isn't very good, it's not too much worth your time to go through them. Anyway, flipping this thing up on its side, the best places to squirt the deox into are those little openings on the switch right there. If it'll focus here. See that plastic opening right there where my fingernail is. Squirt the deox in there and manipulate the switch. Likewise, The rotary control switch here is notorious for getting dirty, which will cause channel dropouts. That potentiometer down there, sorry for the shakes, right there you can, where the leads protrude is where you get the cleaner into. So since that's just kind of boring, I'll do a quick demonstration of the switch and the pots, and you can see kind of what to do, and then I'll leave that up to you and we'll get to the more fun stuff. Okay, so here's your switch. And we're just going to kind of get a little bit of that in there. And then just work the hell out of the switch. Back and forth, probably about 20 or 30 times or more. Just clean it up. So that's how you do those. You can just fish the... you can also do them from the back here too. You can just squirt it in there and work that too for the ones that you can't get from the side, but I just like doing it from the side better. The rotary control is pretty obvious. Just hose it down and then work it back and forth. If you have a sticky control, you can get the deoxit in the race back here where the ball bearings and the clickers are, and you can clean that up. And then as far as the potentiometer, just get it in to where the leads protrude, and then work the controls back and forth. And that's how you clean them up. Once you get all the switches and controls clean, then we can focus on cleanup and performance alignment. Okay, so you've got your switches and controls cleaned up. Now, if you've got a dirty machine, this would be the good time to clean it up. And as you can see, ours is kind of scuzzy looking. We've got junk on the knobs. But more so than that, we've got that yellow smoke patina. This guy was a heavy smoker. And you're probably wondering, God, that's awful. How do we get rid of that? Well, there are many different methods published on the internet. But let me give you 2 secrets. Number 1, buy an ultrasonic cleaner for jewelry. It helps tremendously, especially when you got knobs like this that have all these little deep crevices and things. Get a toothbrush too. But as far as getting the junk off of the faceplate, soak the thing in Windex. I kid you not. I will show you the difference. So let's get it apart. On the 9100s, you'll need a small Allen head to undo the tuning knob. But otherwise, the toggles and things, whoops, you see this separated from the plastic piece. I'll show you about gluing that back on. The knobs should pull off, but these ones are obviously, that one's kind of, that one's cooperative. This one here comes off. These ones are all separating from the plastic. Some of them I see them where the toggle separates from the plastic piece and some of them don't. That phone's level control does not want to separate. I'm very carefully prying from underneath the control so I don't mar the faceplate. That one's on there. If you have to use a pry tool, go underneath so that way it doesn't leave marks. See that little scratch there in the clear coat? That's just on the clear coat. That'll polish out. That's part of the cleanup process. I'll show you how to do that. And then over here, I have an Allen key in here somewhere that's specific for Pioneer. I think this is the one here. It's the brown colored one. Let's see if this works. Maybe it's the one smaller. Yep, it's the one smaller. Loosen your Allen screw. And there's 2 of them. And this should just pull off. Okay. So see our disgustingly yellowed, gross looking knobs. Those are going to go in the jewelry ultrasonic cleaner filled with Windex. And you'll be able to see later how it just cuts through the stuff. But now we have to get the faceplate off. On the 9100, put it up on its side. There's 3 screws on the bottom and 2 on the top. And you may have to finagle it to get it off a little bit. Let's go back to autofocus here. This looks blurry as hell. Okay. Now, if you're refinishing your case, which we're not going to do here, this would be the great time to pull the little wood thingies off of the aluminum faceplate. Once you got the bottom screws off, go for the top screws. Okay. And we can see that just comes right off. Now, also, if you're replacing lamps, now's the time to do it. You can take these 2 screws loose, which takes the meter housing loose. Actually, I don't think you need to do that with this one. Yeah, you can just take this screw loose, which takes the lamp housing out. There's 2 8-volt, 250 milliampere fuse lamps in there. Do not use 300s. Use the 250s. The 300s will discolor the plastic over time. Some people put those in there and you weren't supposed to. These screws here release this plate. Focus. These top screws release this plate, behind which you can find the fuse lamps. You can change them out that way if you want to, or you can remove the 2 screws up here. These guys here, here, and over here. This comes off. There's a 3rd screw underneath. The circuit board pulls up, and I believe there's another 6 8-volt, 250 milliampere fuse lamps in there. However, if you're changing the AM and FM and stereo status lamp, it's best to take this off, because usually what's true is that the rubber behind here, where the stuff sits, gets hard, and you'll have to finagle the lamps out. And usually what you'll find is if you just try to tug on these and pull them out through the rubber, the wires just break off. So you'll need to push them out through the front. But since the lamps are working in this, we're not going to do the lamps in this machine. We're going to focus on the disgusting looking faceplate, which has a lot of haze on it. It's just really hazy. Okay, so first of all, let's get the knobs into an ultrasonic cleaner, and I'll show you how pretty those come out. So here's a simple, cheapy ultrasonic cleaner. I think I got this for like 60 bucks. Drop all your knobs in, make sure they're submerged. Again, that's a Windex solution. We're going to set this for about 480 seconds, so 8 minutes, and we'll just start the thing, and when it's done, those will be nice and pretty. Okay, so while we're waiting for those to cook, we're going to clean up the faceplate. First thing we're going to do, again, Windex, is we're just going to go squirt, 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 assuming I turn the little nozzle thing on. Yeah, maybe it was on. Just go across the glass like that. Let it sit up for, I don't know, 10-15 seconds. Doesn't take long. And then wipe the nasty gunge off of the back of the glass. That one doesn't have any smoke residue on it. And you get this nasty yellow patina stuff. I don't don't know if the camera's picking it up. It's really kind of gross. Trying to get an angle so you can see kind of like the before and after. Let's see if I can zoom out. Well, anyway, if you can't see it, it's gross. And you can kind of see the darkened places versus the light places. But anyways, you want to get rid of the smoke stuff. Literally, soak the thing. Just frickin' soak it. If the camera will focus, come on. Here we go. So yeah, just hose the thing. And just let it sit there. I'm not sure what is in Windex that cuts through it so well, but it really does work. So we'll give this a couple minutes, and then we'll wipe the garbage off of it, and you'll see what comes off on the towels. We're going to do the same thing to the case just for the hell of it. Again, we're just going to let that sit. So this has been soaking about 5 minutes, and we're just going to wipe the stuff off. Kind of gross, huh? Now you can do this multiple times. In fact, I kind of encourage it. It's taken most of it off, but there are some deep penetrations of the smoker stuff. And you may ask yourself, okay, what happens when it's uber deep like this? What do I do then? Well, I'm going to show you in just a second. I'm going to try to get off most of the garbage here. Oh yeah, whatever you do, don't drop this faceplate. That's glass in there, not plastic. I've had some embarrassing moments where that shattered on me. And thankfully there's a nice glass guy down the street called Park Place Glass and Screen, and they will cut me new glass, and it's pretty cheap, so just give them the dimensions and the thickness, and that'll get you what you want. Okay, so now also let's put our cover up here, which looks kind of gross. And again, just wipe this down. You get that kind of yellowy, gross stuff off of it. That's your cigarette tar. Okay. So back to the question of what happens when you've got the little tiny scratches that we made here and existing cigarette tar that won't go away. First thing you do, get a toothbrush and re-soak the area that you wish to target and scrub with the grain. You can see the foamy stuff starting to turn yellow already. I don't know what's in Windex that cuts through cigarette tar, but it does a pretty good job. Also remember the top being kind of gross too. Let's do the same with the top. And the purpose of the toothbrush is to work the Windex into the brushed face. And it does a little bit better job of getting the stuff out. Now on the 9100 you don't have to worry about taking silk screening off because the 9100 face is engraved. So you can be a little more aggressive with cleaning. Again, when you're ready, just wipe away. We're getting a lot out, but it still has a little bit of that kind of amber look to it. That's why smoking's gross. Don't smoke. Especially if you want your stereo gear to remain pretty looking. Because it really does get embedded into the faceplate. It makes it look something awful. And that smell isn't great either. So now, if you really want to make your faceplate shine and get rid of some of the surface abrasions, we'll get to that. So believe it or not, the best way to get these things looking nice is with Novus No. 2 plastic polish. Most of these faceplates were coated with a clear coat, and a lot of times the scratches and stuff are, if you're lucky, are just in the clear coat, and you can polish them out. So get a shop towel, put a little bit in the shop towel here, and just buff it like you're buffing your car, and you can work a lot of the garbage out of the faceplate and make it look really nice. So just coat it and just repeatedly polish until you see the imperfections go away. And it's also getting rid of the smoke coloring too. And it will start feeling smoother as the polish works its way in. See, we're getting a lot of the junk off there, a lot of smoke patina. You can also use it on the corrosion that happens on the plating here. That will also get most of that off. Not all of it, but most of it. You're just going to have to work at it longer. If you want to make it even spiffier, you can put a little bit on a Q-tip like that, and you can work it into the trim pieces that show oxidation. That's going to take you a lot of time. So we're just going to work on a little concentrated area. Yeah, it's working a little bit, but that's going to require a lot of time, which you don't really have. So clean up your excess with a Q-tip to get it out of the holes. Wipe away the excess, and you can just keep working at it until all the discoloring and stuff goes away. And it really does make the face look a whole hell of a lot better. Takes that smoke patina right out. And it also got rid of the surface scratch we had at the bottom from prying the knob off. And then once you've got done working it in, use the dry side of your shop towel to polish it and make it look shiny. And you can't really tell very well, but the faceplate, the yellowing is gone. It looks nice and shiny. We'll finish cleaning up the back and front of the glass, and then we can put this thing back on. So there you go, all polished up and back on the set. Actually, it looks pretty nice. Let's go check on the knobs. Okay, so the knobs are done. Still got a lot of yellowy gunk on them. So again, what I'm going to do is scrub them with a toothbrush, and then you can look at them again. I need two hands to do that, so I'm going to put the camera down. Okay, so after a soak and a scrub with a toothbrush, they actually turn out pretty good. So the ultrasonic cleaner and the toothbrush clean them up. We'll do that with the rest of them and then put them back on the faceplate. Just a lot of work and patience. Okay, so with some additional scrubbing with a toothbrush You can see we got them really nice looking. They're ready to go back on the set. Now if you had those toggle covers come off, you can take super glue and put the tiniest little amount on there. Sorry for the jitters. Just the tiniest little amount. And make sure you got your toggles aligned right. And push them on there real fast. Do it quickly because the super glue hardens as soon as it makes contact. And if you don't get it on there quickly, you'll find out soon enough that it makes it a nightmare to get back off again. So there it is, all cleaned up. Looks pretty good now. So let's get the tuner cover off and clean the contacts. So here's the heart of the tx-9100. Nice 5-gang tuner. But the grounding straps here, basically where these posts are, get corroded and dirty with time. And that makes the capacitance erratic. So the chemical I like to use, assuming it's up here, is the deoxit pump spray. And the reason why is that you can be very careful with this in the application. It's not an aerosol, it's a pump. So we'll just put a little bit on here. Don't get it in the fins. I've had way too much coffee today. I am just like jitter, 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 jitter. And then once you get it on there, work the tuning cap back and forth a bunch of times. We're going to get it on this strap here too. And this one here too. And that will clean up our nasty, dirty tuner. And then we'll work on aligning the thing. Okie dokie. Here's the rundown on the quick basic alignment. You'll need a basic insulated alignment toolkit. The first thing you want to do is adjust the discriminator. And that's as simple as turning to a blank area on the dial with no antenna attached. Go to your discriminator coil and tune it for best center of channel. Because with no signal, you should have 0 volts of your detector. Once that's done, the next thing I'll do is tune to the center. And I'll very carefully, while watching the signal meter, tune the RF coils and peak the signal meter. And I'll just do it one by one. Above the tuner there. It's already pretty peaked. Now what I'll do is I'll tune to my favorite station, in this case in San Diego 88.3, and then I'll do it again and peak it out. If you just tune for middle of the dial, it's good for overall, but I use that as a reference and then fine tune for my favorite station. Your results may vary. Okie dokie. Now the next test is for the multiplex separation control and the 38 kilohertz alignment. Only attempt this if you have a proper signal generator and a multiplex generator. Otherwise, leave this part alone. So with a stereo signal from your generator, apply or switch the MPX generator to a one-channel output only. In this case, I'm using, with the Soundtech 1000, the left channel, and you're going to adjust the separation control for the lowest output on the right channel, since all we're doing is a left channel. See, turn the volume up. If I turn it one way, it gets louder. Turn it the other way, it gets louder. So minimize the audio for that channel, and you've got your separation set. So there you go. Now you can plug your other audio back in. Let's do that.
Or other tax-deferred savings plan, here's the phone number.
And you've got a great tuner with good separation and good RF performance. So there you go. That's the rundown on servicing and cleaning up a tx-9100 Pioneer. Hope this video was useful to you guys. Next time you run into one of these, they're actually good little sleepers. So fix one up, and if you like FM, stick it in your system.